Welcome back to the second half of the show. There was now another case of bullying. Just 56 minutes ago before I got started, I got a notification from YouTube about another bullying situation. This is the situation here. This happened in New Jersey. A local boy asked school board for help after family claims incest. A Camden County 12-year-old made an emotional plea for help at a recent school board meeting after he and his family claimed constant bullying and torment on the school bus has gone unaddressed. Tonight, you are going to hear from the 14-year-old as he shares his experience of what happened on that school bus. Here's Don Timney.
He's mentally ill.
Painful. Painful to hear what's going on the bus, in the hallways.
David Kuzmanich choking back tears as he describes the bullying he says his 12-year-old son endures every day on the bus ride to Beck Middle School in Cherry Hill. Aiden telling me it's unbearable.
I feel upset, angry, sad. One of the kids told me, your name has an A in it, so that means you're autistic.
Aiden pulling out his cell phone back in January to record the constant ridiculing.
If I was your mom, I would.
The sixth grader even attending a school board meeting last night, detailing to the board how kids ask him about his sexuality, if he's a lesbian, or if he identifies as a female.
Then the bus ride got worse and worse from there.
Aiden says one of his students lunged at him while trying to grab his cell phone. He's hoping the school board will take action and is encouraging others to stand up for themselves.
I am very proud of myself, and I think it's very important, and if any other kid is going through this, I also hope that this ends. I don't want to go through this.
His parents say they reported everything to school administrators and filed a harassment, intimidation, and bullying, or HIB report. They were shocked to receive a letter saying an investigation showed no violation occurred.
In my mind, I'm like, how can you watch that video and not think that this kid has been harassed?
His mom, Tina, says it is breaking her heart to see her sweet, easygoing son being tormented like this for no reason.
Hearing that it's still going on and that they're not doing anything. Nobody wants to be treated like this. It's offensive. It's hurtful.
Now, we reached out to the president of the school board as well as the principal at Aiden's middle school and have not yet heard back. Aiden's parents say they are in communication with Camden County Human Services now and have also contacted Cherry Hill Police about this matter. Jason?
Aiden's family is doing everything they can to stand up to this, and you just take your hat off to them. And now it's time for the school to do something as well. Thank you, Don.
Common sense alert. School board does nothing. The HIB does nothing. But write a letter saying you did not find anything. How can you watch the video and say we did not find anything? The name calling. These kids calling him a lesbian. Asked about his sexuality. And you guys sitting there with a letter saying, oh, there's nothing. If my son was being bullied, came home to me and said I'm being bullied and showed me that videotape, I would immediately went down to the school or filed a HIB and told him what had happened. Instead of sitting back allowing this stuff to happen. There ain't no way in hell that I'm allowing this to happen. Ain't no way. Ain't no way, shape, or form that I'm allowing this to happen. Because one of my main goals throughout the show is to is to stop bullying and speak up. That's one of the goals that I have. Throughout this broadcast, throughout the 6 years. And clearly no one has ever stood up and said, hey, you need to stop. Alright, spring break is still going on. Let's take a look at that weather.
Spring
Spring break 2023 is at the halfway mark, and it hasn't had the greatest weather. Gloomy conditions have kept crowds pretty small at area beaches. Our Michaela Chavez shows us where spring breakers are passing the time.
There hasn't been much fun in the sun this week. One visitor from El Paso tells us her plan to tan did not work out.
Yeah, not happening. I'm wearing lots of layers. Not tanning. Yeah, it's a little bit more on the colder side. We thought we left it over there in West Texas, and it followed us.
Other spring break plans have also been blown away.
It was bad yesterday. It was so windy and cold, so we really couldn't do anything but just kind of drive around and look at the beaches.
Rick Benavides works at Fun Time Rentals. They rent bikes, jet skis, and boats, so the weather is also impacting them.
Spring break usually helps us. We don't expect it to go from 90 to 50 overnight, so it was very much a surprise.
For businesses that rely on indoor customers, the weather has been perfect. They are reaping the benefits of spring breakers looking for indoor alternatives.
This spring break compared to last spring breaks has been exceptionally busy. I think because of the weather. I do notice there are a lot of people from out of town in for spring break, so we welcome them.
Although the weather hasn't been ideal, Corpus Christi remains a hot spot.
The people here are so nice and friendly. We just love coming here. We just love the beach life. It's so different than home. So that's why we come back to Corpus.
Reporting from Corpus Christi, Michaela Chavez, Chris 6 News.
We're still almost at the end of spring break, so don't you worry in there. It may happen. Actually, it's not going to happen. It's going to be... We won't know. Still ahead, the Islanders win. Lois Aliska and Chris Thomason with the very latest. But up next, chiropractors, the ones that massage your shoulders and bring back the bones. But are they really scaring you? Or trying to rip you off, scaring them out of a business for money? John Stossel investigates those chiropractors. Stay with us. I got a question for you parents out there. Who do you turn to for your child's medical care? Maybe a pediatrician? What if we told you that most parents go to chiropractors for their medical help, from asthma to ear infections? That's exactly what we're talking about. We're talking about chiropractors. Now, after this video is going to be up, after this episode can be aired, a lot of chiropractors will be commenting and saying, you should be ashamed, talk about this. Listen, I'm not throwing any chiropractors under the bus. All I'm stating are the facts. So who do you turn to? This story you're about to see from 1994 can really blow your mind and make you change your mind. Tonight, some cases and a hidden camera look at chiropractors who may be doing the right thing, but maybe scaring people for money. Here's John Stossel.
Is that okay? Did we do good? Okay, Greg, you're ready.
Dr. Larry Webster of Atlanta is the image of the kindly family doctor. His waiting room is filled with kids and parents who firmly believe Dr. Webster is their road to good health.
Well, that means that probably they seek me out first for a problem.
But Webster is not a family doctor in the usual sense. He's not a pediatrician or even an MD. He's a chiropractor. One of many who now say, we can do more than just treat backs. Chiropractic can help your whole body, and your children's bodies too. Webster's treatment, you're seeing it here, focuses on making an adjustment in the child's spine. He just pushes on the bones. This, he says, gets rid of something called vertebral subluxations, bones out of alignment in the spine that chiropractors claim press on nerves. Getting rid of these subluxations, he says, restores the child's nerve supply and allows messages to flow freely from the brain. This is supposed to allow the body to heal itself.
Did you make an adjustment? Yes, I did.
So that little thing, that was it?
That was it.
The appointment costs about $25 and lasts just minutes. But Dr. Webster's customers are very satisfied. He and other chiropractors we watched have wonderful bedside manner. Dr. Webster plays with the kids and takes lots of time to explain things. Above all, his treatments are unthreatening. No shots, no antibiotics, no vaccinations, ever. It's all natural healing, say many chiropractors, and by treating vertebral subluxations, this natural healing can prevent ear infections, asthma, bedwetting, some say even cancer.
I think it's amazing.
This mother says Webster helped her autistic child.
He wouldn't sit still, period. I mean, he would tear the things off the wall. He would just, and now, he'll sit in class, in place. Teacher said, well, he sits in class.
Probably my most dramatic one has been a kid from Sao Paulo, Brazil.
That child, he says, was deaf when he first saw him.
We adjusted him on Saturday, checked him in Saturday afternoon, adjusted him again. Sunday morning, they told me the child was doing this. The child was having sounds penetrating for the first time and did not know what they were. And now the child's hearing normally.
Can I talk to these families?
Well, if you got the Sao Paulo, Brazil, I don't know.
We can call Brazil.
Sure. Okay. And that's no problem.
But later, when we asked him for the number, he said he couldn't find it. All this makes me more skeptical, but his patients believe.
He does everything.
For many, Webster's the only doctor they see. Do you go to a pediatrician too?
I don't go to the pediatrician.
He does everything.
He does everything.
But your son then gets no vaccinations?
Not at all.
No antibiotics, ever?
Not neither.
I said, chiropractor for an ear infection?
This mother was skeptical at first.
I really was still kind of leery when he did the little thing that he does to his ears, and he hasn't had an ear infection since.
It's all nonsense and scare tactics.
Dr. Murray Katz of Quebec is director of one of North America's biggest pediatric medical centers.
If this is such nonsense, why do patients get better?
Patients don't get better. People believe they're getting better. We know that ear infections can go away in 2 days. We know an asthma attack can stop acutely. We know that bedwetting, eventually people outgrow it.
Katz is just one of many medical doctors skeptical of chiropractic. But Katz is unusual in that he's taken the time to really study it. He's visited chiropractic colleges, sat in on courses. He even joined the Chiropractic Pediatric Association, which is headed by Dr. Webster. Katz and other MDs' conclusion, yes, spinal manipulation, like the treatment you're seeing here, can be useful in relieving some lower back pain. And there are studies in medical journals to support this. But as for relieving other symptoms and treating children, Katz and others say it's nonsense.
There are hundreds of millions of dollars being spent to treat 15 or 20 million children a year for subluxations, which none of them have.
Can you give me a smile, John?
Yeah, that's great.
Dr. Webster's been called the grandfather of chiropractic pediatrics. But today it's a hot business, and lots of chiropractors are doing what Webster does. Today there are companies that teach chiropractors how to build their practice. Make $1 million in 24 months. I guess then you can buy this boat. Another tells you how to treat patients for a lifetime. $100 buys you a tape that'll convince parents to bring their kids in. One trick is to offer free steak dinners to people who listen to your pitch. And the children get coloring books showing the joys of adjustment. Even the dog wants one. Many pediatric chiropractors were inspired by the baby adjusters, Palmer and Jennifer Pete. They run a business teaching others how to open a practice, how to promote it with things like free t-shirts. And they teach courses for chiropractors, talking about things like ear infections, colds, asthma. And they know their techniques work. They've helped thousands of children.
They come in with a fever, we adjust them, the child goes to bed, and they get up the next morning, and it's as if there was never anything wrong with them. We've had case after case.
The Pete's ideas are quoted in chiropractic manuals.
Chiropractic works, and medical procedures usually fail.
In some cases that's true, and I don't think that you'll get people to argue with that too much.
Usually fail?
From the histories of literally thousands of children that we've taken when we've checked them in our office, many of them have come to us as medical failures.
And you can help these children more than a conventional doctor could?
If they have a vertebral subluxation, I'm the only kind of doctor that can help them.
And how many people have subluxations?
About 95% of children have vertebral subluxations.
They say 95% of children have them. They don't?
They don't. They have an ulterior motive for saying it. It's a growth industry. In order to find something to treat, they must find everybody's little bones out of place starting right after birth.
You doctors are just protecting your turf so you can make more money.
It's not a fight between doctors and chiropractors. It's a fight between science and superstition. It's a fight between science and a belief system.
The pediatric chiropractors say they have science behind them, the science of subluxations. This is the crux of the dispute. Many medical doctors say what the chiropractors call subluxations don't even exist, that everyone has tiny variations in their spines, and these have no effect on our health. The doctors also say that if you show chiropractors the same x-rays, they can't even agree on where the subluxations are. Chiropractors like the Pete's say research shows they can pick out the same subluxations.
You can pick up subluxations on these x-rays?
Absolutely.
And it's 0.97%. That's very high.
Well, let me ask you to do one then, or do a few.
I can't. I don't have a view box.
Yeah, we
Sorry, we're not set up yet.
also, we don't have the time because we have to.
Like if we leave them with you, or?
Well, it would depend on what kind of x-rays there were. Let me look
And the quality of the
at
x-rays.
the quality of the x-ray. And this isn't a very good x-ray. Who took these? And that one, you can't analyze that.
If you can't read these x-rays, can we take some of your x-rays and take them to other chiropractors and see if they see the same thing?
Yes.
But when we later tried to do that experiment, the Pete's wouldn't give us the x-rays. They said we were running a circus.
Certainly medically.
He checks out just fine. Physically, he's okay.
We thought we'd learn more about this hot new business by running a real-life test. Blake has recurring ear infections. His pediatrician told his mother, Lori, that the ear infections can be treated with antibiotics, and eventually Blake will outgrow them.
Yeah.
At our request, Lori then took Blake to 9 chiropractors. A 2020 cameraman accompanied her, saying he was a friend. The friend carried a hidden camera. If pediatric chiropractic is a science, you'd think that the chiropractors would agree on what's wrong with Blake. Or perhaps they'd agree with the pediatrician and say Blake is healthy and needs no treatment. Did they? No. Every chiropractor found a problem, and for the most part, not the same problem. The first one says,
Blake has misalignment between the second and the third bones in his neck.
This chiropractor found a different misalignment.
And it's on the right side of his neck between the first and second bone.
This doctor concluded that Blake's main problem is in his glands.
At least in terms of the reflexes that I'm testing, there is a weakness in the renal glands.
This chiropractor knows Blake has a subluxation because one of his legs is shorter than the other.
They're not even close to level. Now, see, this is off without it.
And so on. Although the chiropractors found different problems, they agreed on one thing. They could help. And by the way, Blake's crying not because the chiropractors hurt him. Blake just doesn't like going to the doctor. Now, some of the techniques the chiropractors used were quite strange, such as second-hand examinations. This chiropractor says he'll diagnose Blake by pulling on Lori's arm while Lori touches Blake.
Just put your hand on the shoulder. Your hand goes on. It's just as I push down your arm, when there's a problem, I'm going to go weak. And that's going to give me information about what has to be done.
This chiropractor had Blake lie on top of Lori, and then he pulls Lori's legs.
Now, what we're doing right now is I'm testing her muscles for him. Okay? And there's a combination of energy here. So let me show you. Hold this up again. All right, now this leg doesn't work too good, and this leg doesn't work too good, right? Huh? Yeah. Okay, now that means that there is a jamming of his occiput. That's the top bone in his foot. The occiput, which is the backbone of his skull. All right? Now, by pushing down on her leg, you felt? That's what it says.
Yeah. Then he touches Blake's back, and presto, he says Blake is already better.
I just lifted the occiput, the backbone of the skull, with my thumbs, like this, and like that on the other side. And then we went back and tested the muscles, and they were strong. So that says something.
And that's
Lori's muscles. Well, yeah, but it's right now she's becoming him.
Blake needs treatment, he says. His bones don't work.
So they gotta be fixed. But before we fix that, we have to line up certain other things. His immune system don't work.
And the doctor was worried about learning disabilities.
Learning disabilities? Yeah, which somebody in his family.
Someone in where?
In your family.
How do you figure that?
Because I know.
You know that just from what?
This is what I do. If your eyes don't team too well, and neither does hers. So, I mean, the both of you, I think, is not a problem.
Of course, the cameraman wasn't even related to Blake. Why all the varying diagnoses? When we confronted the chiropractors, they told us the body is always changing. And some said these were just initial evaluations and more tests would be needed. In any case, all 9 chiropractors said they could help, though the treatment would be expensive because it could last anywhere from several weeks to a lifetime.
Several weeks to a lifetime. Now, again, I want to stress out to you guys, chiropractors that are watching, we're not throwing you under the bus. We are stating you the facts here from this report. So let's take a break. When we return, we're going to show you another experiment about this. And we're also going to tell you the story about a chiropractic operation that ended with a child not walking. John Stossel continues his investigation. Stay with us. Now the conclusion to our story. You've heard 9 chiropractors say that they can treat and help Blink. But remember, the pediatrician said he had an ear infection. But when 2020 confronted them, they said it told a whole different side of the story. But sometimes, sorry about that. But sometimes chiropractic operations can be dangerous. Could it be? You're about to hear a case that one not walk, another letting a child die. Once again, here's John Stossel.
Recently, 2 children were brought to this hospital at the University of Iowa with mastoiditis, an ear infection so bad it had eaten into their skulls. Cases this severe are seldom seen since the age of antibiotics, but the chiropractors that had treated the children didn't think antibiotics were necessary. At this hospital in Peoria, doctors were stunned to see a case of kwashiorkor, a kind of malnutrition rarely seen in developed countries. Matthew Goodwin had been treated by chiropractor James Hogue. Hogue says he was treating the child for a skin rash. Apparently he didn't know that the rash was the result of malnutrition. Hogue adjusted him and prescribed herbal therapies like Silmax leaf from the health food store. But Matthew's problem was that he just wasn't getting enough food. Hogue didn't notice that.
I saw no indication that he, for instance, was not being fed.
Hogue claims he referred Matthew to a pediatrician, but Matthew wasn't seeing a pediatrician. Officials say he was only being treated by Hogue. When Matthew arrived at St. Francis Medical Center, doctors here tried to save him, but it was too late. He died of malnutrition. Lawyers for Matthew's grandmother asked physician Warren Bishop to investigate the chiropractor's care.
This is obvious. This sort of thing should be obvious to anybody. I think if you were in the grocery store, for example, in line at the cash register behind a mother carrying a child who looked like this, you would have been shocked, appalled, and worried. Treating it with Silmax leaf, whatever that is, it just defies belief.
A grand jury indicted the boy's caretaker, his grandmother, for neglect because she didn't provide proper medical attention. She's been sentenced to 4 years in jail for involuntary manslaughter. The grand jury wanted Hogue investigated further, but the DA responsible decided not to prosecute. Hogue continues to offer chiropractic care to children.
I didn't see any indication he was starving to death. The last time he was in, he looked thin.
One more case. When Keith Farrow was a baby, he held his head at a tilt. His mother's chiropractor said, "I can help."
He just kept talking to us and finally talked us into it. You know, saying that he could fix that.
And he turned his head to the right, to the left, and back, and snapped. I mean, he popped, his neck popped, you know, and Keith started crying. I said, and he said, well, he'll calm down a little bit. It won't hurt very long.
The next day, he says, Keith went limp, so they took him back to the chiropractor.
He turned his head to right, left, and snapped. I said, well, look how limp he is. He said, he just looked like he got a bad flu bug. He said, he'll be okay in a couple days.
Keith started running a fever. Then they took him to an emergency room. Eventually, a St. Louis hospital found Keith had a tumor that ran the length of his spinal cord. The doctors believe the chiropractor's adjustment aggravated the tumor, which then cut off the blood supply to Keith's spine. Today, Keith is paralyzed from the waist down. The chiropractor, James Kessinger of Cape Girardeau, Missouri, says Keith's problem stemmed from a drug he was given at the hospital.
So
It's not because you adjusted his spine?
No, absolutely
The
not.
doctor said the tumor ruptured, and I would think you were...
He said it ruptured, but he had no proof of that.
In fact, Kessinger says if the Pharaohs had just brought Keith in earlier, proper adjustments might have taken pressure off Keith's brainstem, and the tumor might never have grown.
You don't feel you did anything wrong with Keith?
Oh, absolutely not.
He should have come to you sooner?
Absolutely.
The Pharaohs don't know what to believe. They're not convinced that the chiropractor caused Keith's problems. They even took Keith back to Dr. Kessinger in hopes more adjustments would relieve Keith's paralysis. They didn't. We thought we'd try another test, this time with a child who does have an ongoing problem. 5-year-old Cody Finello of La Crosse, Wisconsin, has chronic ear infections. Infections so severe, they're starting to give him hearing loss. Cody's medical doctors want to insert tubes in his ears to help the infection drain. But Cody's mother was nervous about surgery.
Then I got talking to my normal chiropractor, and he said he could do something better. And if I can find some other way to fix his ear problem, I'll do it.
ABC paid to have Cody examined by 8 chiropractors. Again, all 8 found a problem. But Cody's mom says it usually wasn't the same problem. This chiropractor said Cody has a pinched nerve in his neck. At this office, the chiropractor said Cody's left leg was shorter than his right. Here, the chiropractor said his right leg was shorter than his left. Chiropractic critic Dr. Katz says none of the diagnoses make sense.
Why couldn't an ear infection be caused by a pinched nerve?
If the nerve was being pinched, all the parts which that nerve supplies would then be affected. The child would have facial paralysis, the child might have swallowing problems, the child would have many, many other problems.
Anatomically impossible.
Anatomically impossible.
This chiropractor said the problem was nutritional. Cody was deficient in zinc. This doctor said food sensitivities are the problem.
These are the things that he was sensitive to. Stay away from corn, cow's milk, and white flour.
Okay.
He never even examined Cody's ears. When we asked these chiropractors why all the different diagnoses, some said leg lengths change. Some said they weren't varying diagnoses, just different techniques.
Stay away from corn, cow's milk, and white flour.
When we confronted this chiropractor, he said although he had talked about food, his main diagnosis was a subluxation in the top vertebrae.
Better severe.
Chiropractor James Bowman said Cody didn't even have an ear problem. Instead, he said he has a disturbance in his nervous system.
The cause of that seems to be scoliosis, which
Scoliosis is a frightening diagnosis. It can be grossly deforming.
This is very persuasive. His spine is curved. If I were his mother, I'd worry.
Scoliosis is not any little curve in the spine, and it's not a condition which we see in that age group. It's almost unheard of. We've never seen a case. I think I've seen one case in 20 years.
His doctor says your diagnosis is ridiculous.
well, you know, if he's not familiar with chiropractic, it would sound absurd, certainly.
And the radiologist, too, says this is totally normal.
I disagree.
Of course, if you listen to what the Peets say, most children don't have normal spines. They have subluxations.
Subluxations, if left undetected and uncorrected, are life-threatening?
They certainly are.
They certainly are.
Someone might just drop dead if they're not treated?
That's correct.
That's correct.
Now is the time to tell your patients that subluxations are slowly killing their children.
That's true.
That's true.
You're scaring people for money.
Oh, no. Sometimes we don't even charge patients.
But you're running a business telling people to do more with kids. You're getting paid by other chiropractors for help in starting a business.
Is it scary for the Cancer Foundation to go out and warn women about having mammograms? That's not a scare tactic. That's an educational tactic. What parent wouldn't want their child to be able to have that kind of health care?
A parent who thought you were quacks.
Well, doctors of chiropractic attend chiropractic college for as long as medical doctors go to school.
Yet even some chiropractors are critical. The biggest chiropractic association says there's no evidence that subluxations are life-threatening and that comments like that are irresponsible. On the other hand, the association does claim they've had lots of success treating kids, and they say children with ear infections and other conditions should be evaluated by chiropractors. The association and other chiropractors we talked to said children should also be seen by a pediatrician. Some chiropractors were still more critical.
they are making all the chiropractic physicians, even the scientifically oriented ones that are trying to do a good job, look like absolute quacks.
Chuck Duvall heads the National Association for Chiropractic Medicine, which believes chiropractors should stick to trying to relieve back pain in adults.
Is there a lot of money in this?
Oh, there is so much money being ripped off. They want the patient to start from the day they're born on, forever.
I'd say maybe the average patient here is 50, 60 times, but over a period of time. And again,
is that covered by insurance?
Yes, yes.
You might be surprised to learn who's paying for all this. You are.
So the government pays for these treatments?
Oh, absolutely. It has for years. Medicaid and Medicare in most states cover for chiropractic, and it's not limited to the treatment of back pain.
They say they'll make the body work right so it can heal itself and prevent itself from getting sick.
That's a wonderful idea, but it's not ever been proven.
Might be true.
Might be true, or we might go downstairs and have lunch with Elvis.
So are you saying that they're making it up just to make money?
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, I don't agree with that. From the people I met, I think they genuinely believe that they're doing the right thing.
Yeah, they're exercised about it because the mail and faxes are coming in.
Yeah, it's phenomenal.
Even before it's on the air. John, I have to ask you, this business of a medium, the second-hand therapy, like pulling the mother's leg instead of the child's, is that conventional treatment in chiropractic, or is that something oddball?
No, that's something that the Maine Chiropractic Association said was absolute nonsense. Very few believe in that, but it's being taught at seminars and practiced around the country.
Do you think there ought to be laws curtailing that kind of activity?
Well, I mean, I think in a free country, people should have the right to seek out alternative medicine. I think that it might work. Anything is possible. I'm upset that we pay for it. The government and in our insurance, we pay for their experimental treatment.
That was a surprise to me when you first came up with that. Fascinating piece. Thank you, John. Thanks.
Look at all this. I mean, look at that mail. That mail since 20 years ago. That's just gonna be the same comments from chiropractic patients and public guests. Now again, we're not scaring the patients nor the doctors here. We are stating the facts from this story. You may argue with me, you may bitch at me, you may yell at me, do whatever you need to. Come down to corporate and say, hey, your segment right here shamed us all. I'm not throwing you under the bus. I'm basically giving people common sense alert. That's basically all it is. Common sense. Common sense would have seemed to you, would have seemed to other patients. Like, what do I do if my chiropractor isn't a chiropractor? Get a second opinion. Go to the child's pediatrician. That way, antibiotics can work. If you don't, like they say, oh, I can help you out here, you must, if the chiropractor says, I can help out, then wait a day, see what happens. If you go back for another one, you walk away and find a pediatrician. That way they can help you with the antibiotics and all the other stuff. Let's have a healthy, normal child. And not scare people out of money. Coming up, the Islanders win the first time. But will they win the second time? We'll hear from Larissa Liska and Chris Thompson. Don't go away. 1 or 2 days ago, the Islanders basketball team won. Let's take a look at some cases here. Let's take a look at what happened yesterday.
L'Oreal.
This is your 6 Sports Report.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Larissa Liska. A lot to celebrate today as the Islanders men's basketball team has put the Coastal Bend on the map. Texas A&M Corpus Christi won their first NCAA tournament game in program history, and the fans at the watch party showed their support. Fans gathered at Brewster Street Southside to watch the Islanders defeat Southeast Missouri State 75-71 in the first 4 round of the tournament. This was the Islanders' 3rd tournament appearance and 2nd in a row. Even TAMU CC grad Mayor Paulette Guajardo was in the house cheering on the Islanders. We caught up with fans about the impact this victory has on TAMU CC.
This started way 4 o'clock. I was here to reserve the table, and you know what? It paid off. We are so incredibly proud of our boys.
Coach Lex, who only came in last year, and he brought in all these new guys, and they've been working hard since the first day, and it shows.
Working with John Palumbo and getting to see the school that I kind of helped give birth to the athletic program reach this point, I can't begin to describe how gratifying it is.
It's awesome.
Our thanks to my good friend Alyssa Liska for that report. Now let's look at a couple of things. That merch.
Well, it may be spring break, but the campus bookstore at A&M Corpus Christi was swamped with customers today. Islander fans loaded up on t-shirts, sweats, caps, anything with an Islanders logo on it. The store sold out of all white SLC championship shirts, blue March Madness shirts, and gray Islanders basketball shirts.
And it really shows that the community has come and they've bought, and we are all celebrating together in blue and green, so we've been super excited to see that.
Absolutely, and you can still find Islander gear online. Just go to the University Bookstore's website.
And look at me, I have one of these on. I've had this for about months, and believe me, it still fits like a crown. Believe me, it still does. Okay. Underdog Islanders looking to Shaka. Here's Chris Thomason. There's more about the Islanders. They're now in Alabama taking on another team. I don't know what the team name is, but we'll tell you next. Chris Thompson will tell you. Stay with me. The Islanders won the first time, but will they win the second time? Now it's on the road trip with the Islanders. Here's Chris Thompson.
Hey there, Leslie and Rudy. You know, it's actually nice. You know, when you travel with the team, you actually get to fly private. So, you know, it's like 2 hours, 1 hour across country. So it's actually not that bad. You don't have to worry about, you know, flights getting canceled or, you know, changing over at airports. So it's pretty great. I think I've got some left in the gas tank. I hope the Islanders do as well. Saw them on the court this afternoon. But first, let's take a look at the video from last night. It was all smiles at the team hotel after the big win in Dayton, Ohio. Again, cross country. But hey, there's still now work to do. It was more business back here in Birmingham as A&M CC gets set to face #1 overall seed Alabama, which is only about 50 minutes away from their campus in Tuscaloosa. So you could argue it would be the biggest upset in the history of the tournament, even bigger than at fellow 16 UMBC over Virginia back in 2018. But the Islanders say they're willing to head out there and at least give it what they've got against the Tide.
We know that we're kind of up against it a little bit, but that's why you do this. That's why we play this tournament. You have an opportunity to come into what will essentially be a home environment for them and shock the world. So we're excited about the opportunity.
I feel like at this point anybody can beat anybody. We're not really coming here to lose, obviously, and we're actually coming here to shock the world, I would say.
More like Shaka the world if they were to pull off that upset. Now, if you're working tomorrow and not on spring break like the kids, you might have to use that boss button on the March Madness website to watch it. That game will be played at 1:45 in the afternoon and can be seen on CBS. Now, tonight at 10, we'll have more on the top-ranked Tide and Alabama's star freshman Brandon Miller and his thoughts on the Islanders.
Wow. We're going to hear more from that when they probably win. If they win, we'll still give the very latest.
On ABC, a new 2-hour episode of 2020.
Sorry. We'll probably give you the very latest. If not, we'll still give you the very latest. But there's still more show to come, so stay with us. There's still more to talk about with the Islanders as they get to take on the Crimson Alabama or whatever. I can't figure out the name. So once again, here's my good friend Chris Thomason.
Hey there, Coach Ben. Chris Thomason in Birmingham, where the Islanders are on the court for their shoot-around right behind me. Now, it's going to be a raucous atmosphere here Thursday. NMCC taking on the #1 overall seed, Alabama. They know what they're going into. It is going to be a hornet's nest here. Tuscaloosa just about 50 minutes away, so this place is going to be packed with Bama fans. But hey, the Islanders say, you know what? It's time to pull the biggest upset in tournament history.
They deserve to have every opportunity afforded them. They're the #1 seed in the overall seed in the tournament. But man, I wouldn't trade this for anything. We have a chance to go play them, and hey, everybody in the country and most of the world will know who the heck we are if we beat them.
I would say just being very aggressive on defense, trying to turn them over as much as possible, crashing on the boards, just doing all the dirty work as possible, and just locking in.
And the Islanders know they'll have their hands full with Alabama star freshman Brandon Miller, who's had his major off-court issue this year, as most people who follow college basketball know. But the projected NBA lottery pick says he has done some homework on the Islanders this week and expects them to put up a fight Thursday.
They're going to come out, and play us hard. I think any team that's here in this tournament today or this week is going to come out and just give what they have. So we just have to come out and give the energy that we need to win against a good team.
Being able to play against him and probably end up guarding him, is going to be really good. And he's a very talented player. He's going to do what he has to do to get his team to win.
Now, it's been 16 years since the Islanders have been in this round, the round of 64. So this is even bigger than the first 4 in Dayton, obviously. But we'll see. Hopefully they can come out and surprise some people, especially early. Tip-off set for 1:45 Thursday, and that game can be seen on CBS. We'll, of course, have coverage for you as well from here in Birmingham. Reporting from the Legacy Center, Chris Thomason, 3 News.
And we'll also give you the very latest on this broadcast as well on Friday night, along with the cookies and pies from Becky Bakes. I hope you'll join me on that one, but we still got more show coming up. You'll stay with me as the Islanders are. Don't go away. Can you ever imagine making a threat from out of state and then coming back into state in handcuffs and then barking out a new excuse saying, my cat was cranky. My cat made the threat. Sounds like the old excuse from my dog ate my homework. Here's Jessica Holly.
He said that somebody told him he was having trouble sleeping and he was going to show up playing it.
A threat against Flanagan High School in the form of a screenshot of a text message leading to the arrest of a 16-year-old boy.
Let's go back to that text message. I want to read you the whole thing. Flanagan's going to shoot up my blank tomorrow. Huh? What you talking about? Mac told me he was having trouble sleeping and now he's going to shoot up Flanagan. Blank freaky bro's going to do it, bro. I think. Or Friday. Maybe tomorrow or Friday.
Screenshot of a text message leading to the arrest of a 16-year-old boy. Pembroke Pines police announcing the arrest after what happened last week.
All I know is that it was a threat that was made. And everybody got it really quickly because everybody was sending it and it got reported very quickly.
I was like, maybe it's a joke, but I don't want to risk it because, these days anything could happen.
I didn't go to school that day. I was that scared.
The threat stated that, quote, Flanagan's gonna get shoot up, maybe tomorrow, Friday. Many choosing to keep their kids home that day.
I don't think that they need to actually come over here and shoot anybody, but
You never know.
It was very scary because it was like, okay, what is next?
My daughter was terrified. She didn't want to go to school.
According to police, the threat also included a photoshopped picture of a cat with a gun. Police say the teen who was arrested, a former Flanagan student, told them it was all a joke. But police aren't laughing. He's been charged with written threats to conduct a mass shooting, which is a felony.
It's very scary. It's never a joke.
It upsets the kids, it upsets the school, it disrupts everybody, and I think they need to be a little harsher on these kids.
Police have not released the name of the teenager who was arrested, but some parents believe they should. We're live in Pembroke Pines. Jessica Hawley, 7 News.
My cat made the threat. It may be a joke, but if your cat made a threat, they would be arrested. But if it's a human, you might as well be damn well get arrested for making a threat. Common sense alert, no alarm, but don't make excuses like that. It may be funny to you, but it ain't funny to all of us. I don't know why I'm smiling, but I take these threats very seriously. If you're going to make a threat and involve a cat in there, you may put that down. We'll be right back with Viral Break. Stay with us. Do you watch funny pet videos from America's Funniest Home Videos on YouTube? You're about to see this one. A parrot's got quite the mouth or the beak. Take a look and you may laugh. Here's Brett Williams Johnson.
Dude, I'm sorry.
Woo, that parrot's got quite the mouth or beak on him, whatever. And correct me if I'm wrong, but is this bird actually telling its owner not to shit on the rug? Yeah, if your pets are telling you not to shit on the rug, you may have a problem. Yeah, me and the dog were talking, and we decided that if you ever shit on the rug again, we're gonna rub your nose in it and throw you out on the porch for the night. But seriously, man, you can't let your bird talk to you like that. You better throw some barbecue sauce on that bastard and put him in his place. Does that bird have like a form of Tourette's or what? Now, I love this video personally, even though it only got like a measly 12,000 views. Their banter is hilarious, especially since you know that bird is just repeating things he heard earlier. But I guess it's one of those things that you gotta be just totally messed up to understand, like,
Oh, I get it now. It's a bird and he's cursing and it's like, wow.
Annie. All right, now here's the last one here. Here's the next one here on the same channel. A cow in the trunk of a car. You can't make this up, man. Look at this.
Guess that leads me to the most obvious question. Why in the fuck was there a cow in the back of that car?
Look at this! Look at that! There's a cow in the trunk of the car!
I mean, wouldn't it be easier
Can you believe it? There was a fucking cow in the trunk of a car! Where they are going to freaking slaughterhouse in the trunk of a car? You'd have to be drunk up on your mind. Hey Randy, let's go tip a cow over, kidnap him, and take him to the slaughterhouse in the trunk of a car. Hey man, great idea. I'll be out here. I gotta give a look. Get the fuck over, help me out here. Y'all come for that? Okay, Beller. Okay, Bellringer. I'm going on a field trip. Yo, get your Yo, get your camera, man. Here, driver. Guy has a camera on it. He's laughing his ass off. He's showing his friends, and his friends are like, he got posted on YouTube. Okay, look at this. I got 1 million views. I guess like what I was saying, if you're drunk, if you're high, maybe I want to say like, oh, I get it. It's a cow in the trunk of a car. And it's like, whoa. Oh, man. Alright. Now here's the final one. The Super Saiyan! Take a look at this video. Super Saiyan. Take a look at this last one. 150,000 views from years ago.
What's up, YouTube? This is something that's been on my heart for a long time.
So in case you've ever had sex with a human before, a Super Saiyan is this thing from this cartoon called Dragon Ball Z.
I used to just look at them and just wonder, like, how come I'm just a human being, you know? I'm so worthless. Like, why can't I wake up and if I'm late for school, just teleport there and be on time? All of that is possible and more. It's all in here.
Now, the best part is the transformation. It starts about 3.5 minutes. It goes a little long, but watch the whole thing. Trust me, it's worth it.
Oh my God.
My name is Jalen, and I am a Super Saiyan.
Bravo, sir.
Bravo, man. That was 10 years ago with over 150,000 views. And if you have a viral video you'd like for me to talk about or see on this podcast, or if you want to send in your funny videos of you doing some crazy shit, being funny, post it on YouTube, on your channel, and maybe then you may become viral break on this broadcast. Coming up on Friday, Becky Bakes is coming. Some pies and cookies. Actually, Friday's gonna be our Flashback Friday with some pies and cookies. I can hardly wait for these as we do our update show with the pies and cookies. Becky Bakes is gonna be a special guest, and all my old friend Cassidy Bass. Cassidy Bass. It's gonna be a great show, and I hope you guys will tune in. That's give me a break for this Wednesday going to Thursday. We are off for Throwback Thursday. We'll see you again next week. Throwback Thursday. We look into zero tolerance policies in our schools. Sorry, I'm talking fast here. We'll see you again for our special Give Me a Break updated Friday with cookies and pies. I can't hardly wait for all of us here at YouTube. I'm sorry, I'm just really excited about this. Good night, everyone. And you want to see this? Have a good night, everyone. Go Islanders! Have a good night, everyone.